Congratulations to the organizers of the Glengarry Mental Health Initiative, whose inaugural event in Williamstown was such a huge success. In addition to the soccer tournament, local agencies were on hand to teach people about their services, and guest speakers shared their stories.
Oh my God, we're beyond expectations at this point. The community came out and supported us. I mean, we have over 250 people just at the soccer field, so couldn't be happier. It's unbelievable what we've been receiving today.
We're gathered here to talk about mental health and the impact that it has had in our community, specifically Glengarry. We have lost far too many young adults. I personally know some folks who I lost to suicide over the past couple of years, and as I mentioned, I was suicidal. It started, the first suicide note that I ever wrote was in grade 8, and my mother found that. But I'm here today, and like I said, I'm 32 years old, and I'm very thankful to be here today. So who am I? I am Megan Bingley. I am a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, sexual assault, along with domestic abuse. I'm fortunate now, after 2.5 years of very, very intense weekly therapy, to be balanced, but I have been formally diagnosed with anxiety, complex PTSD, and severe depression. It hasn't been easy. So I've struggled again, like I said, with anxiety for as long as I can remember. But through therapy, I really started to dig into what was haunting me. And the first year was tough, but I still had these boundaries in place where I wasn't fully opening up to her. And whenever it started to get to the really, really hard, gritty stuff, I just couldn't push forward. And I started to plateau, and I started to cancel for every reason I could find. And believe me, you can find a lot of reasons not to show up to therapy. My therapist called me and said, "You know what, I know you're busy, but I'm just gonna schedule you in. Just show up." She knew what was happening, and I'm glad she did, because I showed up. And I had that discussion with her that I had hit a level, and that I felt if I pushed any further and dug any deeper into the trauma, that I wouldn't be able to pull myself back from it, and I didn't know what was causing that. I am quite insightful, I have good self-reflection skills, but I couldn't push myself to that next level. And I mentioned to her, I think that I need medication. She's a psychotherapist, so she couldn't tell me that, but she did agree. I didn't have a family doctor at the time, and I was fortunate to walk into a clinic, formally diagnosed again with anxiety, complex PTSD, and depression, and was given medication. I was worried about taking that medication though. What if it tipped me to the other side? What if it didn't balance me? What if there wasn't somebody to check in on me? What if this was gonna have the opposite effect of what I wanted it to do? Nobody knew how suicidal I was except for that doctor who I had to open up to, who also used a checklist and turned around and said, well, you know, most people who feel it, they don't actually follow through with it. Right, thank you. So I got on the medication, and the first med that I did try was the right medication, and from there I found balance and clarity in my brain that I couldn't always hear before because it was just too damn loud at times. I couldn't quiet it down, but I'm here. So the medication pushed me to that next level of deeper healing to get through the trauma. And I recommend anybody who is hesitant about taking medicine and reading these articles online, it can be necessary. Believe me, I tried other means, and this is absolutely what balances me. But what I want to remind you is my stories can be very different than you out in the crowd. We have Stephen Doris sitting in front of me right now, who is also a survivor, and his story is different than mine, but by no means should you ever minimize what you're feeling, because what you are feeling is absolutely valid. Do not compare yours to somebody else. It will not be the same. Advocate for yourself. Know that there's people out there to help you, and I can promise you that it will get better. The folks who are no longer here with us, they fought some hard battles, and we're here to just support who we have sitting in front of us in our community to make sure that we don't lose another. Let's continue to break that stigma. What I can promise you is if you connect with the right resources, there will be better days ahead. And how I always explain it is that there is sunshine. And God, I didn't know about that sunshine until I made it out the other side at 29 years old. I couldn't focus at the leaves on trees. I couldn't focus at how peaceful the river could sound as I sat by the water, because my head was just always so damn loud. But there's beauty now, and I want to make sure everybody who's here and everybody that you know gets out and feels that sunshine, because I can tell you now, this is what it's about. Thank you.
That speech it was nice to put things into perspective that, this is a fun day, but it's for a purpose. So I think it kind of aligned with what we were trying to do today, and really let people understand someone who had struggles, and maybe if someone has struggles here, now they know some ways to cope with it and how to deal with their emotions.